I really want people like me to not struggle. And I really want to be the person who has just a little bit of help and a little bit of influence in their life. Because maybe there's just one belief, or maybe there's one tactic, or one skill, or one thing that they don't know that would completely change their life. And if I can do that for just one person every day, I'm happy.
The Sacred Jolis Podcast.
All right, sitting down with Shahriq Khan.
Sacred, bro, it is an absolute pleasure.
Pleasure's mine, man. How you doing?
I'm feeling great, man. I was excited to come on here to talk to you, get to hang out with you again, man. It's been a minute.
Yeah, man. It's been. How long has it been?
It's been 2 years. We met 2 years ago, probably today. It was the beginning of August.
I was gonna say, how long has it been since I've seen you?
Oh my gosh.
But 2 years, yeah, we did meet 2 years ago.
Too long, yeah. It was Rolling Loud weekend in Miami, and we met at Club Space. And so I was there for Rolling Loud, and we had a mutual friend there, and that's how we kind of met, but you know.
And then we met in Austin.
Exactly.
Randomly. Who was it who brought us together?
It was Kimmy,
Kimmy!
and then Lucas as well. Because Lucas was one of the Dallas boys and he came on in with us.
Whose birthday was it? Payam brought us together.
Payam's birthday bender, 2021.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and that was awesome, man. Being on that lake with everybody. That was a good energy, man.
Yeah, time flies. Well, I mean, for the people who don't know you, can you tell the audience who you are and a little bit about your story?
Yeah, man, absolutely. So my name's Shahriq. Nice to meet you guys, honestly. Just really somebody who wants to help people, who I'm very big on taking your struggles and your purpose in life and then making that your motivation to grow and influence people and help people.
Yeah.
And then there's a very certain section of the world that I feel like would really relate to you. So the same people that you would influence, I probably couldn't influence, but at the same time, it goes both ways.
Absolutely.
You know, and that comes from your culture, your background,
absolutely,
your struggles. And so you can kind of take all those things and make it your purpose. And so when somebody asks me who I am, I just say, I want to be somebody that helps people like me who have struggled in the same ways that I do.
Yeah.
I help them just break their limiting beliefs about themselves, about what you can enjoy in life, what you can make, how you can enjoy yourself, and how you can love and respect, and the values that really just help me. And so I'm not trying to be, not that I know anything about anything in this world, right? But you know, it's a growing journey. It's a growing journey. And so I want to share that and help a lot of people along the way. That's who I want to be and who I try to embody every day.
I love that. It seems like you have helped a lot of people. I know you have a business that you're running right now.
I do. Yeah, it's my own kind of consulting business. It's really a high ticket coaching program. It's very big in the marketing space. So I've been a marketer for a few years now. Yeah. And I started with Google and SEO for any of the marketers out there who are familiar with that. And it's grown into just this skill stack of marketing, sales, closing, entrepreneurial skills that has now grown into a huge consulting firm for construction workers.
Construction.
That was our niche, yeah.
How did you get into construction?
This is one of my favorite stories. So I started as a marketer.
Okay.
And I was focused on roofing, solar, concrete, landscaping, everything in between.
Yeah.
But I realized in my first year of working on that, which we can get into how I started there too. In my first year of work, all of my clients, it was so hard to get them all results, but I just struck one golden chord with concrete guys. And I had 2 concrete guys who were making a lot of money with me because I was helping their marketing out.
Uh-huh.
And so from there, I just laser focused on them. And I was able to grow my entire skill set and audience just around that concrete niche. The early success I had, I then focused on that for the next 3 years. And I was able to build just a huge knowledge base around all that stuff.
That's amazing. So you're saying you did SEO for a bunch of different companies. You tried a bunch of different ones. They weren't seeing as much success. And then boom, concrete.
Yeah, it just took one small win. It took me my first paycheck. Some random guy paid me like $400 to do his marketing. And I worked for him for 2 months. I was making $200 a month for 2 months, right? But he gave me an opportunity to really show my skill set off and to use his business as my first guinea pig, so to speak.
Yeah.
And that was a blessing. That was a huge blessing because I was able to apply all of these learned skills I had and apply it to his business. And then from there, I was able to start getting proof and results and testimonials. And then that just started compounding year after year to where now I have this massive stack of proof. I've helped over hundreds of contractors. and I've helped them with their marketing. And so now it's like I can come at it from a completely different angle. I'm not a beginner anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
It's actually insane that you've been able to do this and you're how old? 25?
I'm 25. I turned 25 in May. Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's wild. So you have a consulting firm now and you help concrete businesses scale?
Scale, yes. And so it's a marketing, closing, sales. And so my business partner, he's a beast. Daniela, I'll give him a shout out on here.
That's who you were talking about. That was your guinea pig.
No, he wasn't my guinea pig, but he's my business partner who I did some work for. And I've helped him grow his company a little bit as well. But he actually was the one who had this initial idea of like a concrete masterclass. We call it the Mud Masterclass. So I'm going to refer to that, more often, I'm sure.
Okay, Mud Masterclass.
The Mud Masterclass, because mud is just a word for concrete. And we wanted to make it sound really sexy.
Yeah. Especially for the dudes.
Yeah, right? Yeah. So yeah, the Mud Masterclass, that he was running that, and I had a bunch of these concrete clients that I was working with who I was getting results for, but then I thought to myself, I can do that. And so they're making a lot of money off of me, so I fired all of them, and then I bought his program to learn how to actually run a concrete business myself.
Hold up, so he had a program first.
He is the founder of the Mud Masterclass.
Oh.
And I am now his partner in that.
Oh, that is awesome. But then you helped him scale that even more.
Yeah. Now I'm like his chief operations officer, co-founder, and I'm handling a lot of the marketing on the back end as well. So me and him are a dynamic duo. And so his background is that he runs a $2 million concrete business in Salt Lake City.
Awesome, man. So how's the business doing now?
It's good. So wow, man, it's been a ride. It's been a ride. We've been eating shit for a long time. We call it paying your dues, right? But now we're doing about $55K monthly, which is a lot of money. It's a lot more money than I had before.
That's a lot of money at 25 years old.
It is. It really is, man. Yeah. So $55K monthly, and it's really been eye-opening, and I'm very blessed. I want to say I'm so blessed to make that kind of money. It's been a long journey, but I had my limiting beliefs completely shattered because I used to work a full-time tech job. Yeah. And so I was working in cybersecurity. I have a master's in cybersecurity. And my salary was about $75K. Okay. And so my monthly paycheck was about $4K a month. It was amazing. I mean, I had an apartment, a cool car. Yeah. I was able to eat out most of the time. But now we close one client and we make that in a day. And I'm like, there's levels to this.
Yeah, that's a switch up. That's a switch up.
It's a switch up, man.
I've known you for a while, and I know you went through a really rough patch within like the last year. Yeah. And I know you told me at one point, you were struggling to literally pay for food to go out to eat at Chipotle, right?
Yeah, I couldn't even do that. It was definitely the hardest year of my life this past year, for a lot of reasons. But I mean, there was a point where I would just roll out of bed and I was like, I don't want to do anything ever. And that lasted for months. And so it just took a level of discipline and self-love to kind of work myself through that. Yeah. And then there was a point where I was just so not involved with everything. I felt like I had nothing going for me. But the biggest lesson I learned from that was that you can control your thoughts and you can control your perspective. So instead of saying, I have nothing going for me and victimizing myself, I turned it to, I have nothing to lose. I could lose nothing. I could eat it with this business for the next 3 years.
And you'd still be 28.
I'd be 28 and I had nothing going for me. So I have nothing to lose. Yeah. And so that completely changed my mindset from struggling and scarcity and really holding myself back to I have nothing to lose. My risk was way bigger. I was taking sales calls like ignorantly. I would call guys and be like, what do you mean you're not going to buy from me? Like nothing to lose mentality. Okay. And so learning that one thought shift that I can control my thoughts, the circumstance was the exact same. Okay. Was that I was trying to be an entrepreneur. Circumstance. I'm working. Yeah. My thoughts were, oh man, I have nothing going for me. Right? Yeah. Same circumstance, different thought. I have nothing to lose. New energy, new voice of confidence, new everything. And then that's when things started to explode. And then that's when I got really into thought work and all of that stuff. But that was probably the main thing that switched it up.
Can you talk to me a little bit more about, you said you got into thought work. So what kind of different rituals do you have when it comes to thought work and mindset and, getting into the right frame of mind to be even do what you do?
Yeah. So it starts with just like an awareness thing. Like, with how big the mental health push has been, and especially in the United States, that you can eventually start to work on your mindset, right? But rituals-wise, it started off as just basic meditation. It was like a leaves on the stream, like 7-minute YouTube guided meditation.
Really?
And that was just me becoming aware of my thoughts. And then I learned a few models that I can deep dive into as well, but you can start to identify why you're acting the way you are because of your thoughts. And so your thoughts are essentially your beliefs about yourself and your circumstance, right? I believed I had nothing going for me. That came from a thought. But then I switched my thought to, I have nothing to lose. And my beliefs became that. And then your beliefs now become your feelings and then your actions. So controlling that.
So switching your beliefs into I have nothing to lose, and then that becoming what was the first action that you took?
Yeah, so it would go thoughts, feelings, actions.
So right? You're in a low point. You're at your lowest point.
Lowest point.
Did you just start making calls? Like, how do you even get to the point you're at now?
It was, and this is why I'm actually transitioning into this huge mentorship space.
Okay.
You don't know what you don't know. And so for me, it was just seeing how the highest level of people operated and how they moved and how they walked and the energy they had and how they take care of themselves mentally. And just YouTube universitying the crap out of that, right?
Yes, sir.
Sitting in my bed
and
being like, I don't want to feel this way. It hurts. It's painful.
Yeah.
I don't want to wake up tomorrow. I have nothing going for me, but hating that. And there's like a little piece of me, my inner shark inside my heart that was like, you don't have to feel this way. So I was on YouTube every night just researching and learning until I had a level of understanding and like perceptiveness that I could actually deploy into my life. And so that was how I learned so much about thought work so fast. And then once you start implementing it and actually practicing it, you will actually see so many of the limiting beliefs that you have about yourself, and you can directly address them. And that's kind of how it all started. It started off very, very slow, but the educational process to understand that you can actually do that that took me my entire life to figure out. But once I figured it out, that was the biggest shift mentally.
You got a bright future ahead of you, Shahriq.
Thank you, man.
At 25 years old, I'm trying to remember where I was at. I was probably on a party bus somewhere.
You had that party bus company.
Yeah, I did.
How did that get started?
Oh, man. Okay. So I started the party. So the party bus company name is 5-Star Entourage.
5-Star Entourage.
5-Star Entourage.
It's a beautiful name.
It worked for us. It was, I started actually in college with my friend, Vinny. Shout out Vinny Jurado. Cool dude. I transferred over to Texas State. I actually initially got into the party bus game, taking it way back with Alex.
Really?
Yeah. So,
Ferraria.
Yeah. So,
wow.
So after high school, a guy by the name of Mike hit me up and he asked if I wanted to start doing party buses to this club called Cowboys. And I'm like, sure, bro. I don't know what that is, but let's do it. Anyway, so
what is Cowboys?
It's a country club, but on Wednesday nights, in Dallas, I think it was Thursday nights. On Thursday nights, it was college night. So they would play like EDM music and stuff like that. But we would take party buses there. We would basically rent them out for like $400 or $500 a night and then charge people per person to get on. We really wouldn't make much money, but we got to party for free.
Paid to party.
So yeah, we did that after high school. I did that with Alex. And when I transferred over to Texas State, I saw that they had party buses there. They had party buses that went from San Marcos to Austin every weekend. Wow. And I learned this skill on how to actually fill up buses and promote in Dallas. I met this dude named Vinny, and we both started talking. We're like, you know what? I think we can do a party bus company ourselves. Anyways, we joined forces. We put in all the money we can. We bought our first bus. We painted it by hand, like spray painted the bus.
Entrepreneurs, man.
Spray painted the bus, installed poles, lights, all that stuff. And it was a school bus turned into a 50-person passenger bus that got people safely from San Marcos to downtown Austin to party on the weekends.
That is crazy. Where did the money come from? How did you guys get started?
Man, I just used everything that I had at the moment and put it into the bus company and put it in to build the first bus. And just knowing that I had a successful promotional venture in Dallas, I knew how to fill up buses. There was a lot more people to promote to in college. You know everybody. I just knew it would work. So I was able to put everything I had into it. We did that. It worked. We went from 1 to 10 buses in like a year and a half. Now it was 10 buses that we owned. 6 were in operation. So we bought a bunch of buses from Texas State, actually. 3 of them were in pretty bad shape. So we had planned to put them back in operation. We just never did. But we bought them in the auction. But yeah, we grew pretty quick. Had a lot of fun. Learned how to operate a business. And yeah, we're here now.
So let me get this straight. So Sacred Thomas, mental health advocate, got his start in the party bus scene, being paid to party, but that's an invaluable skill set, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, I learned a lot. I had a lot of fun, but mostly I learned how to operate a business and work for myself. And I learned that I could do it. Because you need proof of concept, right? You need to be able to prove to yourself that you can actually do that. And then 7 years later, I kind of got tired of it. And
7 years.
Yeah, 7 years later, I got tired of it and switched to video.
Switched to video, just like that. So
yeah.
What?
I thought I was interviewing you.
But you're fascinating.
But yeah. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Because hearing how you build this up too, it's you know, seeing your success on social media, especially. It's always good to see how you started because it gives me perspective too.
I really got a lot of the skill sets that I use now. I gained during that tenure of owning the party bus company. I was the one doing a lot of the video work, all the commercials, all the flyers, all the just hype videos to get people to get on the bus. I was the one doing a lot of it. I was pretty much doing it with my phone. I eventually got a very shitty camera.
Okay.
And
this is like iPhone 3GS era though. Like this is not like this was your phone.
I ain't that old in college, bro. I think it was iPhone. Is iPhone 7, is that 3GS?
No. Like the iPhone 3, the next one was the iPhone like 3GS and the iPhone 4.
Yeah, no.
So I picture you.
I think I was in high school. I don't know.
I'm picturing you 6'5" in the party bus scene with just like this like little phone.
Bro, yeah, it was trash. It was trash, but it worked.
I know it did.
But yeah, from there, I actually gained a lot of the skill sets that I have now that I use today to make some of my content, man. I learned how to actually build a social media following with 5-star entourage, but promoting parties, you know? Yeah. I mean, if you guys want to scroll down my page, I haven't deleted anything. You can go check it out.
From way back. You have a crazy amount of posts on Instagram. How many is it? Like 2,000?
I think it's like 2,000, yeah. It takes, hey, listen. People think it's easy. If you can't give up until you've done 2,000 posts.
That's what it takes.
You know? It's really post 2,000 that put me over the edge, you know? I was stuck at like 15K for like 10 years.
I remember. I met you when you had 15K.
Yeah.
And it was constant action. And the content was amazing.
Yeah. You need to be able to do something over and over again, regardless of the results.
If you're playing the game, the game can be anything you want.
Yeah, absolutely. No, but you have to be able to do it over and over and over again without even seeing the results. Like I said, post 2001 probably is the one that put me over like, oh shit, I just grew 100K in a week, but I was at 15K for 10 years. You get what I'm saying?
I do, absolutely.
So when it's people who are trying to grow on social media to start a business, like to run a business or anything like that, and it's really not all about the numbers. It's more about the quality of numbers anyways. But for people who are trying to do that and they're sad that they're not growing fast enough, you're going to learn with every single post. And I think if you can hold on to that, you can keep going.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Rather than looking at the numbers. And eventually the numbers are going to come. Learn to be better.
Learn to be better.
You know?
Yeah. And if you do it very intentionally, and if it's something you're passionate about, it's almost effortless. Almost.
Almost. It ain't effortless. It takes a while. Let's get back to you.
Yeah.
So you build up your Mud Masterclass. I know you're working on something new that a lot of people don't know about yet. Would you be able to talk about it?
Absolutely. Yeah. So formerly Life Coach Shahriq, right? That ended. But I wanted to learn social media. I wanted to have that as a skill on my entrepreneurial tool belt.
Okay.
Content creation, knowing how to grow and engage an audience, right? So I'm now rebranding into what I call the Rainmaker group. So it's Rainmaker Shahriq now. What is a Rainmaker?
You and these names, bro. I love it though. I love it.
It sticks. I try to make it stick. I hope it sticks. I haven't tested it out there yet. But the Rainmaker Shahriq. So what is a Rainmaker? A Rainmaker is somebody who can go into any business and get money into their pocket. How do you do that? Lead generation, marketing, content. How do you get people, customers, clients to buy stuff from that company? Whether it's an e-commerce brand like Core Culture. Whether it's an e-commerce brand like Core Culture. Whether it's an online service agency, whether it's your family's restaurant. How do you go into that business and actually get them results? That makes you a marketer. That's level 1. The next level is the Rainmakers. The people who can do that and have so much proof of doing that they can go and consult somebody for an hour and completely change the course of their business because there's 1 skill, 2 skills that they can identify and plug that hole. And then that would be a missing piece in that business and they explode. And so, for example, our average client in the Mud Masterclass adds $32,000 of new revenue in the first month of working with us.
That's not bad.
And that's proven now over almost 60 clients. And so it makes the sales part, it's not sales, it's a value exchange. Who wouldn't pay $10K to get into a program that will make you hundreds of thousands of dollars over your career?
Millions.
Right? And we always say you pay for things with time or money. So you could spend 3-4 years trying to understand the skills to grow your business. Or you can find somebody who's doing what you're already doing, learn how they got there, take their 10 years of grinding, take the 10 lessons they learned from that, apply it to yourself right away, and you just saved yourself 10 years. And that's the value. That's the value of the whole consulting business as a whole, the whole industry. That's what it's about. So if you have a goal and you don't know how to get there, I always say the first thing that you should do is invest in a mentor to help you get there and to show you what you don't know. Because that was the most important thing for me. And so the Rainmaker group, the Rainmaker Shahriq is, I just made my first $100,000 online. And they say in any business, your first 100K is the hardest because you have to unravel your beliefs, your mindset, your habits, your relationships, your crews, the guys that you hang out with, everything, your routine. You have to unravel all of it and take full responsibility for it. And that took me 3 years of absolutely grinding on top of my college experience and everything before that, right?
Absolutely.
I want to take those lessons I've learned, condense it into one course, right? But I'm giving it away for completely free.
Really?
Everything I want to give every lesson away for free.
Why is that?
Because I don't think people should be paying for information that's already out there. All I'm doing is taking information from my mentors. So I spent $30,000 myself on mentors to learn the skills that I've had. And the first 2-3 years, I was eating it, right? Genuinely eating it, not making money. I was making maybe like another $1,000 a month. But now I have the final skill sets and the understanding from those guys to where I made 100K in the last 3 months online, right? But it took me investing into those mentors to start the clock of me absorbing the information until I had enough skills to really explode with it. And so my goal with giving away everything for free is a lot of guys, especially my age, I call them the next generation Rainmakers, right? The guys who want to go out there, who want to build a life, who want to take control of their life, who want to drive the fast cars and have the lifestyle and have the energy and the passion and help people and in turn have a lifestyle that provides you with all that energy. I want to help build that group. I want to surround myself with those guys. And the best way I can do that is by showing them what I know and making it so accessible that the only excuse they have is they're not putting in enough time. So I want to really address the question of I don't know how to start. I don't know where to start. What skills do I need? I want to make those questions answered for free because I've paid $30,000 to know those skills, right? But if I can give that all away for free, then the guys who take that knowledge and implement it and then really make it their own and really kill it with it, those guys I can bring into my next level circle. Those guys I can work with and we can build some amazing companies. And that's my main goal. My main goal is to have a community of guys like ourselves that really push each other.
Yeah.
That are there for each other. That are there for each other, mentally, physically, emotionally, where we can have a community of guys who just guide each other's backs. Because I never had that.
Yeah.
And so that's something that's the main purpose of all this, is I've never had that, and I feel like I would love it. And I've gotten some taste of that with you, with, you know, our friendship, with some of the guys I've met. You know, that's really what's driving all this.
That's awesome, man. So basically, Rainmaker Shahriq, you're going to be teaching people how to go into any business and scale it.
Exactly.
Just the way you did with the concrete company.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's 3 main avenues.
Okay.
So the 3 avenues that I've made my company's up to $50K a month or so, right?
Yeah.
There's the SMMA, social media marketing.
Okay.
Facebook ads, Instagram ads at a very high level. There's the SaaS, software as a service.
Okay.
Where you have a software company or a white label company underneath you, and you sell a software as a way to help solve somebody's problems. And then the third model that I've done this with to get to $50K a month is coaching, consulting. And so those are the 3 main online business models that I'm going to teach people and give everything I know away for free. All the lessons, all the templates, all the contracts, all the cheat codes, the hacks, everything I can possibly do to give it away for completely free.
I need you to help me, man.
It's a free course. We'll get you on there, man. Yeah, I'd love for you to get into it.
I need you to help me. I need to. I'm trying to get my video production business off my hands. I want someone else running it for me.
There we go.
Can you help me do that?
Absolutely. So this ties into the main Rainmaker hashtag, right?
Okay.
Main Rainmaker hashtag, best marketer wins. It's hashtag the best marketer wins. And what does that mean? It's not the best videographer. It's not the best coach. It's not the best soda. It's not the best burger place. The best marketer, whoever can market the best, is who wins.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have the best product in the world, but if you have no idea how to put it out there, you're not going to win. You're not going to get the attention that it deserves to your brand and your product. And so the skill set of marketing is the main core feature of being a Rainmaker.
Bro, I have my own personal examples about how that is absolutely true.
You've seen it.
So I've seen it in my own business. Listen, I am not the best videographer out there. I don't make the best videos. I'm decent. I'm pretty good. All my clients are happy. But there was a point where there's not a whole lot of difference between my skill now and my skill when I was charging $500 a video. There's a difference. But it's not that big. Mm-hmm. But now I have more eyes. I have higher paying clients. It's really people who want the same thing that I was making back then, but just for people who are willing to spend more for it. And people are willing to, I feel like Mitch McConnell. You know Mitch McConnell?
Who's Mitch McConnell? Tell me.
No, Mitch McConnell's he's a Republican senator, bro. He literally was talking. He was talking.
Why does Sacred Thomas feel like Mitch McConnell right now?
He was talking, and then all of a sudden, like he's so old. He just paused for like 15 seconds straight and just stared at the camera. I shouldn't make fun of this dude. Anyways, he's a terrible politician. Anyways, but getting back to what I said. Getting back to what I said. There is not a huge difference between a lot of different videographers, and I know today a lot of videographers that are better than me that cannot charge as much as I do. So what you're saying, you're right. The best marketer wins.
Best marketer wins.
That's awesome, man. You have so much going on. Do you have any rituals or productivity hacks that you can maybe share with someone that wants to be on your level?
Yeah, man, absolutely. I have an end goal, right? In everything that I do, I want to be in this end goal called flow state. You know when you're playing a basketball game and you just hit 3 threes in a row and you feel like you can't miss and you're just dialed? Are you good at basketball? Have you ever related to that?
What's the most?
Have you ever made a 3 in your?
No, probably like six in a row,
yeah,
bro.
Half a dozen. That's healthy.
Yeah.
So the goal is to get into flow state.
Okay.
And the way you can do that is by having your rituals. And this is what the best pro athletes do. They have a ritual before their games that will put them in the zone. So they know, Joe Burrow talks about this actually, where he will do the same thing every single time before a game so that he knows when it's game time, he's already sharp.
Yeah.
And they have whole medical teams helping them with this as well. But that's a big mindset thing. So the rituals that I do and the productivity hacks are specifically around my morning routine, which is no more than 10, 15 minutes. Okay. But it's just about whatever works for you. You need to find times in your life where you felt the most confident. And you need to figure out what you did right before that moment and start repeating that. So this is going to sound so arbitrary, but my morning routine, I wake up, I slam 2 water bottles, I crush them in my hands, I throw them in the trash can, and I hit my laptop. And I start working on my first task for the day. And just doing, I've condensed it now to like maybe a 15-second sequence where I have 2 water bottles next to my bed, right?
You chug 2 water bottles in 15 seconds.
Dude, okay, so you can take a water bottle and you can smack, okay, this is proof. Let's
go.
Ready?
Okay, I believe you. For those of you guys just listening without video, he did it.
Yeah.
I believe you.
I do what I say, okay?
Okay.
But 2 of those, that was fast.
That was crazy.
You crush
You
them.
might have a world record, bro.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. You crush it?
So you crush them, and I throw them in the trash can. And for some reason, I've been doing that for so long that I would condition myself now to get into my flow state. And so the way that I did that was by having small successes at first, following that, right? So I would do that, and then I would knock out like 5 of my most important tasks for that day. Or get on a phone call with somebody and really close a client or kill it, right? And then eventually your brain starts to associate that activity with the result that you've been feeding it. And it goes negative too, but we're gonna focus on the positive here.
Okay.
But having just a simple routine that you follow up intentionally with a success is how you really affirm that in your brain. It's a free throw routine. It's literally a free throw routine, is how I describe it.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That absolutely makes a lot of sense.
To answer your question at a very high level, a productivity hack or ritual,
yeah,
I don't have anything specific for somebody that would work, but I would say find your free throw routine before everything you do. So for the gym, if you know that your free throw routine for the gym is dogging some pre-workout to the dome and slamming a water bottle and hitting it with some heavy EDM, but you know that's going to ramp you up and you're going to max on bench.
Yeah.
Rip it, baby. Like,
yeah,
it doesn't have to make sense. Just do it. So I would say having a free throw routine.
I just stretch and then I'm ready. You know,
Yeah.
I'm a little more chill. I just go in, I stretch, I do some ab work, and then boom. I'm trying to bench as much as you.
And then you're benching 150s on each hand. You bench my max probably. You could probably max with my
every now and then
in one hand, bro. Sacred Thomas, pecs of peace.
Nah, they ain't ready for all that, bro.
What do you mean? I've seen the thirst traps. you walking with your.
Hey man, I've turned over a new leaf.
Yeah.
I don't post as many of those anymore. You know, I'm trying to elevate the level of the things that I put out. Yeah, if that makes sense. But you know, every now and then I do want to just hit them with a little water.
Let them know.
A little water.
Yeah, little splash zone.
You know, I'm still young and healthy.
SeaWorld. And you made that change, right? And then how's that impacted your following?
Oh man. Oh, okay. So. For those, I mean, there's a lot more people now since I've made that change. I'm not saying that I didn't grow before, but I think I started growing very fast with fashion content, you know, and thirst traps
for sure,
and then you know some funny things along the way, and just random TikTok trends. It got to a point where I would see, you know, there's tons of TikTok thirst trap people out there, and I just did not want to become one of them. I felt like I had more to offer the world. So even me doing this podcast is completely out of my comfort zone. I'm a very to myself type of person. I'm very reserved. So, but I did know that when I did talk, I had things to say. So I got out of my comfort zone and decided I'm going to just start speaking on camera about the things I believe. I was raised by parents with really, really good beliefs, morals, and I have a great mother who's taught me a lot. So I figured, let me start speaking to the world about things that are like passionate in my heart. And it's, there's a lot of people who have issues in relationships. So I started speaking on that a lot, through the things that I've learned myself and through the things that I've learned from other people. That has definitely boosted my following, but it's completely outside of my comfort zone. It's something that I don't do naturally and that I'm even getting better at right now. Mm-hmm. This is podcast number 4.
Wow.
I have a lot to learn.
You do.
But in podcast number 400, you're going to see the difference.
Absolutely. So congrats on starting the clock with that.
Appreciate that.
That's the hardest step.
Yeah. And I appreciate you actually asking me questions because...
What a concept.
Yeah, I know.
Two-sided friendship here.
Yeah. No, it's just, so even like I can even address that. It's like the last 3 podcasts I've done, it's been amazing. I've had great guests. But this is a learning process for me. I'm learning how to have a conversation flow a lot better where we're both giving input. And it's been very one-sided so far because I've been just very adamant about getting people to know who they are. But I do appreciate the fact that you're also asking me questions because I do know some of the people that watch this want to hear my thoughts on things as well.
Absolutely, man. I think I'd say most of the people who watch this are watching it because of you. Because
is that in the name? No.
Is it what was the name of this podcast again, right?
It's a word or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Most people think my name is Thomas.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, the sacred Thomas.
Yeah. Why would I call myself a sacred Thomas?
Super, yeah.
I'm not that vain, man.
So egotistical.
I'm not that vain.
Thomas.
No. My name's sacred. I didn't give it to myself, but
yeah, Sacred Light Amadeus Thomas.
Yeah, most business emails start with "Good morning, Thomas," or "Hi, Thomas." I always have to address it. That's my last name, y'all.
Yeah.
I need to put that in my bio.
Yeah, right? Is that because you had the brand Sacred Shot for a while? And maybe that just sounds like a professional videography brand?
Nah, I mean, Sacred Shot came after Sacred Thomas.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
I don't know. It's just people don't associate the name Sacred with a name. It's very different. Mm-hmm. I haven't met another Sacred yet. My brothers and sisters all have very interesting names. I met another Charisma. Vinny's girlfriend's name is Charisma.
Charisma, I met her. I went to EDC with Charisma and Vinny.
Yeah, how was that?
It was amazing. EDC was electric. It's in the name. Electric Daisy Carnival or something. Yeah. But it was amazing, man. That experience was something else. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a minute since I've been to an EDM concert.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on raves?
I love raves.
You love raves?
Okay, so, all right. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the age of 25 when I was your age. Young fella.
Young blood.
So at the age of 25, I had my party bus business, and the age of 25 was actually the best year of my life at that time. My dad actually, when I turned 25, he called me and he said, I remember when I was 25, that was the best year of my life. And I honestly forgot exactly what he had said had happened, but I know he had starred in certain movies or plays. He was talking about something from back in the day, 1920.
Yeah.
But no,
the roaring 20s.
No, but from way back in the day, he told me that it was the best year of his life. And I told myself that year that this is going to be the best year of mine. So I intentionally set out for it to be that way. That year, I traveled the most that I've ever traveled in my life, and I found raves.
You found raves?
I bring it back. I had my first rave, and man, I think I've been to almost every single major rave in the U.S. It's great, man. The people are amazing. The music transcends language. I just love the atmosphere of it, and it's, I don't want to say plur. Do people say that anymore?
I've heard it maybe 3 times.
I think whenever I started going, it was a lot more prevalent, but, at the end of the day, I think raves I think everyone should at least try it. And I know some people think the music's annoying, but it's different when you're there. It's different when you're there. I think they're dope, but I haven't been to one in a minute. I don't know. Am I too old?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I've seen some old people
Yeah,
at
me
raves. Oh yeah, they love it. It only gets better. Apparently.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, man, you can do anything. You can do anything that makes you happy, bro. We'll go to a rave sometime. We'll reignite the fire.
Yeah. Wait, what's
Miami
the next?
Ultra.
No, the next. Okay, so like I said, I've been to most of them in the U.S. I haven't been to any overseas, and I think that's the next step.
The overseas Tomorrowland.
Tomorrowland. That's going on right now.
Yeah,
that's going on this week.
As we speak.
As we speak.
Yeah, it's probably right now. Like it's Saturday night. They're just going crazy.
Yeah, that's. I don't know. It's. I mean, I'm talking about. I'm saying, and it's just words, but. I don't know. Something about being there, man. Like that energy. That I actually want to be a DJ one day. I want to DJ electronic music. I have all these random goals. Doing video was one of them, and I've been able to take that to a high level. But I do want to get into music, and I could be 50 years old. I want to be a DJ one day. Idris Elba.
Yeah, that reminds me of this super unknown guy, Shaquille O'Neal. DJ Diesel.
Yeah, Diesel started late.
Diesel's throwing down, man. I saw him
yeah.
at EDC Vegas. I've seen him a few times since, too.
Yeah, me too.
He can start the craziest mosh pits. And sometimes, I think there's some videos where he's just going crazy in those mosh pits. Dude, one of my life goals, and Shaquille O'Neal, if you see this, one of my goals is to like Oklahoma drill Shaq in a mosh pit and just get laid out.
I'm about to say, it ain't gonna end well for you, bro.
Broken arm, broken collarbone, happy. No,
it's gotta be me and you versus Shaq. Then we could probably
double up.
Yeah, we could probably both get laid out.
He's still twice your size. Come on. Yeah,
no, he's literally twice of our size.
Yes, absolutely, man. Yeah.
But yeah, no, Shaq Diesel, you're right. So there you go. There's proof of concept. So, I say it's a crazy idea, but I think one of these days you'll see DJ Amadeus.
Amadeus.
At the raves.
Oh, that's clean.
Yeah.
And that's your third name.
Yeah. Dang, you even knew the number, man.
Always, man.
That's what's up. You know me.
Yeah, what are friends for, bro?
Yeah, man. But just to swing back onto you. Can you tell me about, or can you share with me a personal struggle or a vulnerable moment that you've faced getting to where you are today? I know you're only 25, but you've done a lot and you've lived a lot in the short amount of time you've been on this earth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the first thing that came to mind was probably my most vulnerable story. So my dad got moved down to Texas for his job. He was working like corporate Citigroup or something. And there was a point where he lost that job. So we had to come down to Texas, and he ended up getting hired at another bank briefly. But that's when my parents started the Indian restaurant game. So
your parents' food's amazing, by the way.
It's amazing food. I love it. And it has definitely been responsible for all the gains. But sadly, so my parents getting hit with that really hard situation in their lives, they needed to commit a lot of time to it. A lot. And so the situation that I was put in was I was the youngest of three. I have an older sister and an older brother, and they're 4 and 3 years older than me respectively. So I was about 13 when all this happened. So they were 18, 17, roughly. They were finishing up high school. They were going to college. Yeah. They had a full childhood with my parents. So I was 12, 13, and there was a point for about 6 years that I pretty much lost all interaction with my family because my siblings were a lot closer together than I was with them. Mm-hmm. And my parents were working, trying to support the family, and they were both into it. And it was survival mode, right? Like, we have a family we have to support.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have this house in Texas we bought, but then my dad lost his job. And so we have to do something. So I understand why they did it. But I was 12 and I was put in a situation where I was almost completely responsible for my own growth and well-being. And so at such a young age, when that happens, you really miss out on a lot of childhood and growth and comfort with yourself. And so I barely remember my middle school and high school years because I think I was just always in survival mode. Like, I couldn't tell you like what half my teachers' names even were. It's crazy because I wasn't focused on that. I was focused on how am I getting home? Like like the school buses were there obviously, but stuff like that were my thoughts at the time. And so I pretty much had to, I say this, I would raise myself since I've been about 12. Because I would wake up at 7 a.m., go to school. Mm-hmm. The restaurants don't open up at 7 a.m., right? So my parents would usually work late night till like 10 or 11. Dinner shift closes, right? But by the time they would come home, I'd already be sleeping in bed. And so I would wake up, they'd be sleeping, getting ready. I would go to school, come back, go to bed, and then they would come home.
Yeah. And
so that was the on and off case. It still kind of is. We've been a lot better now as a family being engaged, but for those 6 years of 12 to 18, that was my schedule. And so there was no parental supervision. There wasn't any, I wasn't able to invest in myself as a kid would with coaches or sports because I didn't have a way to really dive into that and feel safe doing that. So that's kind of what kickstarted my hyper independence phase. And that was definitely something I did about 3 years of therapy trying to unpack everything there to get to the understanding I have now. But I was in survival mode since being a kid. And so my most vulnerable moment, to go back to your question, was that 6-year period where I felt like I was almost responsible for myself. And that's very, very hard to do as a kid who didn't really know. And so that's where a lot of the growth mindset kind of, and I'm actually really thankful for that.
I was about to say, a lot of people in your situation wouldn't necessarily turn out the way that you did, but also a lot of people in your situation. I think from what I've seen, a lot of celebrity kids, a lot of kids that are born into wealth, they don't turn out too well. But people that have to go through struggle, most of the time, it doesn't necessarily turn out good either. But those are the people that you see making waves. So I think that, of course, your parents did the best that they could.
Of course, you said absolutely. There's no doubt.
But that point in your life probably is what's built you up to be the person you are today and be so independent so quickly. Mm-hmm. I don't have any other 25-year-old friends.
Really?
But you fit in so well with our group. We have a group of friends that are entrepreneurs and that are all doing things.
Right.
So you fit in so well. I forget you're 25 until you're drunk at the bar.
Until we're enraged, man. Yeah. Then this guy's 20, baby.
You'll learn to hold your liquor one day, bro.
Maybe, man. Right now, tequila tastes like candy, so a dangerous game, baby.
I think 27 is when it really started to hurt, bro.
Yeah. And I want to dive into that, actually.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Alcohol.
Yeah.
There's a saying I heard, and it really stuck with me, and I feel it. Alcohol starts as fun, and then it becomes fun with a little bit of problems, and then it just becomes problems.
Who said that?
Pinterest.
Well, Pinterest is right. I think Pinterest is right.
But what are your thoughts on that?
Well, you said it starts out as fun, then it's a little bit of fun, and then it's problems.
Yeah, fun problems, and then just problems.
I don't believe in infinite statements like that, but to a degree, it's correct. So when I say that, it's just like it just becomes just problems. No, there's people who can go throughout their life and dabble in alcohol and be fine. But I do think that the sentiment is on the right path. I do think that, as through college. I mean, I didn't try my first drink till I was 21, so I actually waited.
So your timer started a bit later.
Yeah, I started a little bit later.
Relatively. I mean, legally.
Legally, yeah. Most people don't start that way.
As it should.
Yeah, most people don't start that way.
Yeah, absolutely true.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, if I go down the timeline of my own life, at some point it just holds you back, especially if you don't know how to handle it, I think. David Poku, my previous guest and one of our good friends.
He's bulletproof.
Bulletproof. Homie does not drink or do anything. And he's probably one of the sharpest minds I know. Mm-hmm. And through college, bro, sorry, Mom. It happens.
It happens.
At some point, I indulge, but these days, man, no, I don't drink very often. But I'm still not opposed to having a good time every now and then. But,
absolutely.
But it's people who I think build up the habit of even drinking every weekend. Like they think that that's okay. It's actually not. Alcohol is a depressant. So if you are trying to level up in life, I think that's something that can hold you back.
Absolutely. It's a hole in the bucket. I use that phrase a lot.
Yeah.
It's about doing the basics.
Yeah.
If you want to level up in your life, why would you be doing things that literally depress you from that, pull you back?
Yeah.
It's a concept, but I'm not going to act like I'm not going to be some guru. I was hammered last night, so. But it's a growing experience. It really is. You have enough of those experiences, and it's less and less. I'll tell you that. So
yeah, absolutely. But listen, as everybody has their vices. Everybody. I don't care who you are. Yeah. Everybody has their vices, but it's just really, as of anything, things in moderation are better. You know.
Absolutely.
But let's switch gears.
Let's switch gears, man.
I've asked all of my entrepreneur friends about this.
Sure.
Because I always want to get other people's perspectives on relationships.
One thing I learned about myself, and it wasn't always like that. I used to be running around Playboy. I was loving the energy. I reference this a lot. I was president of my fraternity back in the day.
Yeah.
And that gave me...
Oh, wow.
And that gave me access.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. It was one of those very valuable moments of learning for me, because there was a point where I was on a small campus that I went to. Mm-hmm. There was a point where I knew almost everybody in the Greek life scene. And I had this like presidential status where I would be respected in a sense. Mm-hmm. I don't know how real that was. I don't know if it was just people, trying to like get something from me, or if they saw it as a benefit to them if they were friends with this president of the big fraternity on the camp, right? Mm-hmm. But it was a perspective of having a status that would be like infinite access and being respected by a lot of women that you go in, that you see. Yeah. Right. And so to be very raw and authentic, that's where most of my dating experience actually branched off of, because I would meet a girl and it would feel like they were instantly interested, because in that small community that we were in college. Mm-hmm.
What college you go to?
UT Dallas. Go Comets, whoosh. So very small social scene. There was maybe 400 people in Greek life. And so the dating scene was almost, it was there, but it's pretty non-existent if you compare it to any other D1 college. I mean, not even a comparison.
From someone who went to college in Texas, I would agree.
Completely. Completely.
UTD is a great school.
It's a great school. It's also on the list of the most unhappiest schools. And we had,
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so like it's a deep rabbit hole to do it.
I was gonna say it's a great school, but it didn't look as fun as my school was.
No way! No, dude, we would travel to a different school every weekend. We're like, we gotta get out of this place, man. We had to get out of there. Like, but I'm always somebody who, I've been in shittier situations, and so you try to find the best of everything, right?
Yeah.
Being at such an unsocial, depressing school, I love the school. I'll probably donate. I want to donate money there when I'm financially, anyways. But you have to like look into yourself. Like you have nothing to do. There's times where Monday through Saturday, you have nothing to do. It's not like TCU, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, game time, tailgates, nothing. So you have to look into yourself, and you have to really authentically say, how do I have a good time? And what do I not like about myself? And the best thing about UT, and I still stick by this, is if you go to that school, you will come out a different person. Somebody who is very, very abundant if you choose it, because you have 4 years of actually working on yourself, because you have to deal with yourself. There's nothing to do but work out and grind on school and eat Chick-fil-A, honestly. So
and eat Chick-fil-A, okay.
Yeah. So that's the biggest credit I give to it. It's an amazing school if you really need to take some time to understand yourself. And you can't just distract yourself. There's no distractions. It is you.
You said that you got a lot of your relationship experience from UTD. Can you talk about some of that? Okay, no.
Yes, and no.
Okay.
Yes, and no. So
no. Actually, I want to go back to how would you say it is for someone to date somebody like you, who's a up and coming entrepreneur, someone who probably doesn't have a whole lot of time, somebody who's really grinding, trying to build something right now? How would you say, if you were to look at somebody else's perspective dating you, what does that look like?
Oh man, I would say I feel like it's really hard dating me. And that's something I have not been able to really wrestle with. But I feel like it's really hard to date somebody who's a founder, CEO, somebody who's so invested in themselves, in their own growth, because there's so many weeks where I don't even realize how fast time is flying, and doing the very intentional little things in a relationship that really make it work.
Mm-hmm.
The boring things, the quality time,
Mm-hmm.
the investing in each other, the recaps of your days and how you feel and how you can genuinely help each other grow. That
It's tough.
is minimized.
It's tough.
And sometimes it's nothing. Sometimes I need 2 weeks, 3 weeks to go in on a project. And knowing where I'm at now, I wouldn't ask anybody to like voluntarily get involved with that. Because I feel like there is a level of needs that a woman has that she will need out of a man to provide for her, that somebody in my shoes, specifically me, I find it so hard to meet. And I genuinely sometimes do feel really bad
Mm-hmm.
that I'm not able to meet those needs of somebody who is dating me. So for my girlfriend, for example,
Mm-hmm.
there's a level of quality time and attention and intentional dating and really romantic intimacy
Mm-hmm.
that is so hard for me to give, because I am always wired right now towards my greater purpose.
Like at all?
It's there. But sometimes you go like 2 weeks and you're like, I haven't taken this girl out on a date and had a romantic date night with rose petals and wine, and you know where it goes from there.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But it's hard. It's really, really hard. The advice I would give somebody who's dating somebody like that is
Don't.
Yeah, right? Let them develop into who they want to be. But no, the advice would be, there's a lot of ways that if you can make their life easier and you can help support them in any way, it's going to look really different than most relationships. But that person will be a ride or die for you.
I love what you just said.
Go ahead.
Because
I sound like your turn.
No. So like you saying that to me is like, I'm just thinking a woman saying that to me. Like obviously, no, pause, no homo.
Love you, bro.
No, but it's. I think just from the people that I know, and maybe my circle's just small. No, from the entrepreneurs that I know. If you're a woman out there and you got a guy who's really, really killing it and killing like you are, because you absolutely are crushing it for a 25-year-old.
Thank you.
If you could do anything to make his life easier, he will love you forever. Because there's going to be a lot of sacrifices. On your end, you do need to be able to put the business down and still grow a relationship. That's definitely a need. But on her end, I think people like you, your drive fuels you. It's a part of you. And for someone to try to work against that, fights against your very nature. So you're only going to be pushed further apart.
Exactly.
So if a woman can come in and help make your life better and help make even help you in your business in some way, I think it could really help your relationship.
Absolutely. And it's gonna look very different. I think you nailed that. Yeah. It's so important. But we always have to ask ourselves as men, what are we asking from a woman to do that for us? What is their return? What are they gonna get out of it? Because when you get into a relationship with somebody, in a way, you need to be very, very selfish because you have needs that you want to meet.
Yeah.
And this is your life. This is your livelihood. Like, you need to find the person for you. That's the game.
Absolutely.
So you have to make it very clear why you're doing all this. And if they can respect the reason that you're doing that. So my reason is, I want to give us a lifestyle. I say this all the time, one of my biggest goals in life is to have a community of my like-minded friends like you. And I have this dream where there's like 15 of us, and we all have our kids, and we like private school them together, because we'll get into that later. But private school, and we make them into a loving like family together of our values and our mission, and we can grow them into our families like that. Yeah. It's one of my dreams would be like if 15 of my best friends all lived in the same city, and we all had our families together, and we had our own values and our missions in sync, and we had that huge community. That's amazing.
Yeah,
to me. And so the reason I'm working so hard is I do want to create that. And so my communication to my partner has been to sound like a fucking robot. Jeez. Wow. The way I talk to my girl is, I'm like, hey, I'm sacrificing these 3, 4, 5, 10 years so that we can have a life of pure abundance. A life that you can be proud of. A life that is, we can go anywhere, anytime. We'll have the money, the freedom, the culture, the faith, the ability to dive into all of those things. If we want to go to Ibiza and party for a week, we can do that. If we want to go to Japan and really dive into the culture there, we can do that. If you want to go to Nepal and dive into a spirituality in a monk retreat, we can do that. That's the level of life that I want for myself. And I'm not going to get there by not doing what I'm doing. This is the way I know how to. So
to move on to something different, you're 25. You've got a thriving business. How do you handle all of the women being thrown at you?
How do I handle all the women? That's a great question.
Wait, no. You're 25. You're yoked. You got a thriving business. You're growing out your mullet.
The mullet is...
How do you handle all the women being thrown at you, bro? You live in Dallas.
Yeah, man. Can I be real? Yeah. I actually try not to even have that thought. So my rule, and I'm gonna just tie this back to everything.
Okay.
So I'm in a committed relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
What does committed actually mean? It's when there's no greener grass. It's like the Matrix, the lady in the red dress. You're not chasing anything else. It's not even almost a thought in your head because you're so focused on what you have and your mission. So the ladies, do I notice them throwing themselves sometimes at me? Cordially, yeah. Do I give it more than 1/3 of a second of a thought? No. Because I'm committed. Yeah. And why is that important, right? So when I wasn't committed, and I was just kind of dicking around, truthfully, my business, I also wasn't committed to. And in my business, I was dicking around. And in my lifestyle, I was dicking around. And in the gym, I wasn't committed, and I was just kind of dicking around. And you realize this is all connected. And so the deepest level that you can kind of search into your own self is through somebody else in a relationship. They always say that your deepest shit comes out in a relationship, right? Because that's like the most intense love you feel. All your childhood stuff comes out. And so I learned that me not being committed in my relationship was the same way I treated everything else. My diet, my business, my friendships, everything. It was all like intertwined. And so I realized, why am I not committed to my business? Why is my business failing? Why is my fitness not growing? Why is my friendship circle just like so in and out?
Yeah.
I tied it all back to me not being in a committed relationship. And so I tried that. I was like, what does committed really look like? It's when you don't even have a thought about other things, that you are so focused on what you're doing and growing your side of the relationship. That's where all your time and energy goes. All of a sudden, I get in a committed relationship. My friendships are deeper than ever. I'm more authentic, and my business relatively exploded. I mean, for what I'm doing. So that's what it was. And so when girls are throwing themselves at me, not even a thought.
Not even a thought.
I'm mowing my own lawn.
Wow. I love that, man. How do you, so you say that since you've been in a committed relationship, everything's been deeper, your relationship with family, friends, everything. I've noticed, I've had a couple friends that they've gotten into committed relationships and they disappear. How would you say it's been different for you? Like,
yeah, I've been in every committed relationship I've been in before this one, I've disappeared.
Yeah.
I haven't been showing up as myself. It's a very interesting question. I think it becomes, it's a masculine needs thing. And this is a huge topic. This is what guys like the Tates and PBD and everybody, they deep dive this. But it's a masculine needs thing where if you get into a relationship and you don't know as a man how to meet your own needs, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, and ask that of your partner and communicate that very clearly.
It has to be very clear.
Like with yourself, like you're building a massive brand. You need frictionless environment. You got to Godspeed that, right? When you learn how to live into that and you know that that's your purpose. For me, it was my business and everything that I'm doing as well. once you learn how to really communicate that and live into that, and then you show your lady, you lead her into that, and she can trust you with that, then you probably will show up way better than you ever have. So the guys who disappear, I would challenge them to see what needs they're not being met, that they're not meeting from themselves, whether it's their fitness needs, their friends. Like, you know, when you say disappear, hey man, I haven't seen you in 6 months. You haven't hung out with the guys.
Yeah.
Why is that? There's a certain need that he's sacrificing to be in that relationship that's taking him out of the game. And that's not a healthy relationship, in my opinion. Some people make it work.
It's also, in my opinion, it's the exact same thing. I agree.
Yeah, some people make it work, but are they the happiest? Are they both in their flow state? Are they both fully living their own lives as individuals? I would question that.
I would also.
But that's my take on that. What do you think about that?
What's my thoughts on someone who disappears in a relationship? It sounds like you've put in a lot more thought into it than I have. I just thought of it as something that's happened, and then it's just how that person handles their life. But for what you said, actually makes a lot of sense. From the people that I know that have disappeared, I don't see that they're happier by doing that, but I think that they're trying to be a certain person for someone rather than being who they are. So like it's a part of themselves that's not even being allowed to show up. But they aren't. You're a guy who has a lot of authority. You speak with a lot of authority. You speak with a lot of confidence, and I think in those scenarios, these might be guys who aren't necessarily leading their relationship. They're more submitting to their relationship, and I do believe that a man should be the leader in the household, period. Mm-hmm. Girlfriends, wife, whatever. You know, I think that works best for both parties. I think a woman wants to be led.
Absolutely.
You know, there's a whole bunch of controversy around there with the whole red pill shit.
Yeah.
But I do think traditionally, in a traditional relationship, a woman wants to be led. Do they want to be controlled? No, absolutely not. But led. But you have to be the type of person that they can trust to lead. You know? So, and I think in those scenarios, like I said again, I don't think that's taking place. So they've submitted.
Yeah.
Not the best relationship dynamic in my opinion, but to each their own.
Each their own, man. But that's a really interesting point that you had. Is when a lady does submit to her man, how do you get her to feel comfortable doing that? Because I think I agree with you, where I think a man who is able to make decisions for the relationship and lead that way, that is so valuable. And that's a beautiful masculine energy that will really will really bolster her beautiful feminine energy. Mm-hmm. And so I was talking about this topic actually yesterday, and I was thinking about it. How do you get a woman to submit? That's the question that's like red pill, everybody hates. Like, if you ask somebody, how do you get a woman to submit? They're like, dude, get your head out of your ass, right? But submitting is a beautiful thing if it goes both ways. So if a woman knows that her needs are being met, and she knows that her man is trustworthy and responsible, I have not met a woman who would not submit to that man. But submitting doesn't mean you give up what you want.
Yeah. Oh no.
Right. So that's a very harsh word for submit, but it just means giving authority and respect to.
Yeah.
And so as a man, you can submit to your woman. So this is what I always use as an example. The best relationships that I felt and I've worked in, I have my girlfriends for most of our decisions of a relationship. I have my girlfriend make the options. She will evaluate the options and present them to me. Mm-hmm. So if I'm like, hey, we're doing anything from dinner plans to a house we're buying, give me your top 3. And so I would trust her feminist, what is it? The feminine.
Feminism?
Feminine.
Oh, feminine.
Yeah. So I would trust her feminine energy to, and her intuition. That's what it is. Mm-hmm. I think the most powerful feature of a girl is her intuition. They're always right, I swear.
Oh, bro, yeah.
But they use their intuition to present you with options. And as a man, you can make a decision on those options.
Yeah.
And that way her needs and her concerns are met, but then you still have the chance to make your decision as a man because she's given you 3 options that she's vetted in her head. Mm-hmm. And then you can make a decision on what you do. And that's the way that I've seen the man submit to the woman and the woman submit to the man in a way that really drives both of their energies forward.
Shahriq, you answered your own question.
I think I just did.
You answered your own question. I have nothing left to say. I
thought about how do you get a woman to comfortably submit to you?
Yeah, bro, I have
submitting to their highly feminine qualities.
I have nothing to add to that, man. I think you hit it right on the head.
Cool.
It's when they respect you and they value you as a man and they trust you, a woman will follow your lead.
Absolutely.
Period.
Yeah.
But if they live in fear, if they're scared, if they're what's the word I'm looking for? If they're insecure, that's when you start to have issues.
Insecurity causes a lot of that friction.
Yeah, absolutely. But sometimes that's not on the man. You know, sometimes that's on their trauma. So I can't always put that on the man. But it just depends on the situation. There's a lot of nuance to it.
There's a lot of nuance. They say when you date somebody, you're dating their childhood.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Relationships really bring out some of your innermost fears, some of your innermost insecurities. Like a real woman's going to bring that out of you. And a lot of times that's why you fight. They're trying to teach you something and they don't even know they're trying to teach you, but they're trying to teach you something that you're still fighting within yourself.
Mm-hmm. I would say they're trying to teach you something because that's a really powerful trait they have as a woman. That's a really strong feminine energy thing.
Yeah.
They want to take care of you and they want to make sure that you feel loved.
Yeah.
And so when they show you that, but you're still fighting all this stuff so I use the example of how I was independently raising myself from 12 to 18.
Yeah.
So when a girl tries to show me something, my first thought is I've built my whole life by myself. I don't need you to show me this. Piss off. That's my dating my childhood. That's what I can say. All of my girlfriends have felt that in some way. It's something you can work on. But that's just an example of what they're trying to show you and how you would, fight that almost subconsciously.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head.
Yeah. But that's all I have on that topic.
Yeah. So after talking about this, what do you value in your partner?
What do I value in my partner? Wow. Okay. Yeah, no, I love that question.
You love the question?
I love that question. Tangibly, I'm going to start, so I had 1,000 different thoughts. That's why I love it, but I was like, I need to gather myself real quick. Tangibly, I'm just going to go section by section.
Okay.
Right? Emotionally, somebody very intuitive, somebody very smart, somebody who, when I'm envisioning something or when I'm trying to put something together, they can help me guide myself through my own emotions. That is the most valuable skill, I think, for me personally. This is what I value, so I'm going to be pretty selfish here. I'm trying to build an empire, a big empire. Like I want to make a community of people who are untouchable, bulletproof, who have an iron mindset. I need somebody who can help me build that by being able to help to take over the empire when I'm struggling, to help me build that with me. Somebody who has the qualities of a builder, a founder, somebody who brings people together. I'd narrowed it down to that. Somebody who brings people together. I would always categorize people into two different people. They either tear people apart or they bring people together. Somebody who's running big groups or who's really involved in their communities versus somebody who's isolated and not really doing that. You want to stay away from those people. You want to find the people who can bring people together. That's the second thing. So that intuition emotionally, and then the ability to run the empire and bring people together is what I would say that is. And then there needs to be a level of the basics. I call it the basics. And so there needs to be a basic understanding of your faith, of your core beliefs, of the God you serve, all of that. There needs to be a basic understanding that you guys are on the same page. And if you're not, nothing else really matters because you're not even doing the foundation work. You're building a castle on a pile of sand if you're not even doing the basics, right? And so the basics are something you need to really evaluate. It's different for everybody, but it's usually faith, family, and core beliefs, right? And I want to dive into that actually. The main core belief for faith for me has become what God you serve. And I heard this from my buddy's therapist said this, and it was the most based opinion I've ever heard.
Okay, go ahead.
But he goes, no matter what spirituality and no matter what religion you are, you're either serving a God of infinite abundance and growth and love, or you're serving a God of scarcity and sacrifice. Same God, same religion.
Wow.
Your mindset and your thoughts affect that. And so I think back to my faith, right? Where I've been Muslim, I've been Christian, I've reverted back and forth. It's all over the place. It's a mess. But the whole time, I prided myself on serving a God of abundance, that he's putting us here to really kill it and do things in his name. Versus when I was in a ministry camp, for example, because I was really Christian for a while. I'll dive into that later.
Yeah, I want to know your thoughts about that, actually.
Yeah. It was an experience, man.
Yeah.
Most of them served a God of sacrifice and not loathing, but like shaming almost. It was the second God, the God of sacrifice and
I've had a similar experience.
Self-containment, yeah. Which is why I think a lot of people defect from their religion, because they're not seeing their mindset and how they were trained on it and learned it is not the abundant way. And so they would often shame themselves for doing things or doing what they want to do, or they would sacrifice so much in the name of God when maybe that's not what he really intended. You know, you don't need to unroot yourself and try to like live like Jesus when you're just a human, you know? But there's an abundant way to do it and there's a sacrificial way to do it. And I think in Buddhism, in Hinduism, which I grew up around too, in Islam as well, I always try to serve the God of abundance. Mm-hmm. And so that's going back to what I value in a woman. They need to be serving their God of abundance. I don't care if they're Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, agnostic, whatever. They have an abundant mindset and they know that they're here for a reason. And they're not doing the scarcity thing, because I don't like that personally. Some people love it. I don't, not for me, like I said. So that's one of the basics for me. Yeah. But outside of those are my three main: loving, caring. Fitness is a huge one, obviously. Fitness is everything, actually. That's your well-being. This is your body. Take care of it, people.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's a basic. But every other quality is second tier. That it'd be cool to have. I would love if they were so funny, right? I would love if they were hyper charismatic, but those things aren't deal breakers for me.
Yeah, but I think if they had those qualities, they have to just be a good person in general.
Yeah. Yeah, they usually...
That foundation just leads to good people.
Yeah, the tier one leads to everything else. Yeah. And those are really impressive people. Those are people you want to be around.
Yeah.
Those are people that you can actually commit to, who would feed into your vision and their own and not... It's an abundant mindset. It's like, there's plenty to go around for everybody. So
what do you think that a partner would value in you?
Ooh. What would they value in me? The list of things that I gave as my like requirements, almost, my standards, right?
You practice yourself.
Those are what I want for myself. So the same thing I expect out of them, they know that I will constantly be striving for myself.
That's respectful.
Yeah. So everything I just said was pretty much a projection of who I want to be. And really, honestly,
so you want to date yourself.
Yeah, the female version of you, right? The female Sacred Thomas. What does she look like?
The female Sacred Thomas? I don't know.
Yeah? What values do you value?
What do I value in a woman?
Yeah, like the values of a woman that you say, wow. Let's just start there.
Somebody who's very nurturing, someone who is, I love a learner, someone who's willing to listen, someone who's willing to learn, and someone who's also willing to teach, because there's a lot that we learn in our individual lives that we can also teach to each other. I value someone who is kind to people. It's like you can't treat your waitress and waiters like shit. You know, I watch how you treat your family, how you treat your friends. Overall, I value someone who has an abundance mindset, like you said. I think an abundance mindset leads to all of the other great traits. It's, like you said, fitness is very big with me. I plan on working out for the rest of my life. God forbid something happens, but, if I'm in a wheelchair, I'm going to still try to do my best. But I think health is super important. I want to be able to raise kids and grow old with my kids. So I think that's very important. For me, faith Faith is an interesting one. But I think you actually talked about it. You said that you don't really care what God, as long as they believe in something. I think I'm on the same page with that. What do you think about religion?
So I have a background with religion. I grew up Muslim. When I was in college, I found Christianity. And I think the reason I really dove into it, and I say dive into it, there was a point where for about a month, I was on a beach spreading gospel to people. So I was deep. But religion, I couldn't operate until I understood it. Like, there was a point from when I was 21 to about 23 and a half where every single day before bed for 2 or 3 hours, I would be balls deep on YouTube.
This man's talking about religion, yeah?
Yeah, right?
Balls deep. All right, go ahead.
I would be very deep on, I dove into the Muslim apologetics, Christian apologetics. Apologetics are, are you familiar?
No, I'm not.
Apologetics are the people who try to answer the most difficult questions in religion as to why they conflict with each other. It is like the most intense arguments that we have as to why this is right, this is wrong. You have PhDs, level minds, scholars who study this for 40, 50 years going at it like a debate, like a presidential debate.
In religion.
Yeah, in religion. And so the guy that I followed a lot was Ravi Zacharias, I believe.
Okay.
And so he is a Christian apologist. And so he would try to answer the hardest questions as to why people are trying to disprove Christianity. And there was a point where I was watching these YouTube videos for like 2 hours every single day, just exhausting myself. Because at the end of the day, of deep diving both so hard, because I felt like nothing mattered unless I had this answer. I was like, why am I doing anything if there's no God? Like, that was my initial thought. And so I eventually just got to a point where I pretty much related to that abundance thing I said earlier, where I was like, we don't know enough. And the word faith in itself means belief in something that's not there, or not that you can't see. You have faith in something. So no matter, I think, and this might upset people, this might be completely wrong, but to my understanding of it, we don't have an answer. So blow the picture up more than the 3 billion Christians and the 3 billion Muslims. Or I don't know if it's 3 or 1, but billion something. Blow it up a bit bigger than that and figure out what makes the core values of religion important and why we follow that. You know, maybe it's not just going to heaven and hell. Maybe it's about why we're here on this earth. And so that's how I kind of fell into that abundance thing. But my view on religion, it's more about serving a God of abundance no matter what that looks like. I can do that in a church. I can do that in a mosque. I can go to a Buddhist temple and do it. And I would be very peaceful in my heart knowing that I'm doing that. So,
I love that, man.
Yeah, but that was after like religious hazing. Like growing up Muslim, especially in these days as a young kid, it is forced down your throat. And you had a similar experience.
It wasn't forced down my throat.
It wasn't forced? So maybe not similar then.
No.
How did you go? Yeah, maybe not.
No. I grew up completely different. When I said it was similar, I think you said that basically they didn't see the things that they were saying and what they were doing were kind of different. It's based off of you preach this, but you do something different.
No congruency.
So that's the experience that I had. It's just I didn't grow up very religious. My mom, she grew up very Christian. My dad, he actually studied religion in college. So we grew up around religion, but we weren't taught a single one. So we grew up around Muslims, we grew up around Hinduism, we grew up around Buddhism, Christianity, all of it. When I was really, really introduced into Christianity, it was when I moved to Texas. I started going to a church and it was cool. It's, we just moved to Texas. We got a chance to, we're in a youth group. We got a chance to meet some people, play basketball. And that's when I actually was going to church and seeing what everything was about. I've always been a kid who just observed, I listened. Didn't talk much, but I listened. And what I noticed was people were preaching certain things and doing different things. And that kind of put me off. And I realized that I grew up with a bunch of core values that I didn't necessarily need to have a specific religion to have, but I do understand its place for some people. I'm not trying to discount anyone's belief. Everyone's entitled to believe what they want, but I do believe in a higher power. I believe that not one religion is right and one religion is wrong, and we're all going to hell if we don't follow one religion, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. Let me ask you a question. How has your travel experience affected that view of religion? Because you mentioned Texas specifically.
Okay.
There's a concept called Bible Belt Christianity. It's like Southern conservative Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
Great teachings, honestly. But it's very non-secular. Secular being, you go to a Greek Orthodox church in Greece and it is completely different than how it is practiced down here. And then you go to Canada or you go to New York and it's like a more liberal version of Christianity. So how has like your travel influenced your religious views?
I've never actually thought about that. Well, I'll say this. I'll say that it hasn't really influenced it much, but I will say that from my travels, I see a lot of different cultures, a lot of different backgrounds. Everyone wants the same thing, and that's happiness, abundance, a good life, love, children, the best for their children. Everyone wants the same thing. Everyone's trying to get that. People just do it in different ways, you know? So I think we all want the same thing. But I'm never going to be the person who's going to who's going to discount, who's going to say that someone's going to go to hell because they don't believe in this specific faith. Because there's a lot of similarities in religion. A lot of similarities. I'm sure with your deep dive, you've seen that.
Yeah, very, very big. The most mentioned prophet in the Quran is Jesus. And you go down that entire deep dive. It's a rabbit hole for sure, but you realize there's a level of connectivity there.
Yeah.
And that's actually why I became super Christian, because the religion I grew up with, I didn't even know that for some reason. But then I deep dove the books and what they were actually saying, and I was like, yeah, this Jesus guy. Yeah, he's interesting, and he's verified. Jesus got a blue check. Right. So that's kind of what made me do that. But then I realized the more I dove into it, the more answers are not there.
Yeah.
And so the way my brain works, I would rather serve values and fundamental beliefs than a rock hard dude like you're going to hell.
Yeah, and
that's a crazy conviction.
But I think that some people, it has its place in some people's lives. Some people need that, for their structure to have a purpose. I hate to say it, but some people can be born into a circumstance where life is tough, and like, what the hell am I going to believe in if it's not a God? You
wouldn't have anything.
So it gives you a purpose. So I see that aspect of it.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think if it's helping them and they're being great people to other people, that's a beautiful thing. We need it.
Yeah. Most people think, I know a lot of my people think I'm religious, especially because of my name. But no, I'm not super dead set on one religion. I believe in a higher power. Absolutely. And I'm not afraid to say I don't know.
That's a powerful skill, man. Yeah. The conviction is also something that kind of trips me up. It's like, I meet guys who are younger than me, who have grown up in the same city their whole life, and their conviction on religion is infinitely higher than anybody I've met. Conviction in the sense that this is right. Like, dude, what are you like? You got to hear about this. That was my experience on the beach spreading gospel. The conviction was so there, and I was like, they wouldn't even know the other religions. Like, they wouldn't even know like the thousands out there. They wouldn't even they haven't even began to like research them. And that's when I was like, people who are convicted on anything, like with that level of conviction, they are either Warren Buffett talking about money, or they're a little over their head.
No, you're right. But hey, to each their own.
Right.
So you're an interesting dude, Shahriq. You, I actually did not know that about you, about religion. I didn't know that you took that path, but I do want to bring it back to your business. What inspired you to to create Rainmaker Shahriq?
I love that question, man. It was, I struggled. The time where I was most stressed in my life was when I was in a 40K debt hole because I was trying to build this business in the most half-assed way. I still was working a corporate job, which ended up just being a crutch, right? It's okay to suck at my business because I'm working a corporate job. It's just a side hustle, not an excuse. But it made it acceptable for me to fail. And I was in my master's degree. I was doing my master's in cybersecurity management. And because I was doing that, I was like, oh, it's just another side hustle. But doing those three things in sync, doing those three things together made all three of them suck for me. I was getting like the worst performance reviews at my job. I was a B student in my master's. My business was draining me. I mean, I was spending so much money trying to learn things and test things out and getting no return. The summation of that was me in a 40K debt trap, right? And this is back in like probably January of this year, right? January of this year, I was like 40K in debt. I had no job because I quit my full-time job. I want to get back to that actually.
Yeah.
But I was 40K in debt and I was like, I don't care if I wake up tomorrow because I had the banks calling me every 10 seconds. I had nothing going for me. Flip the switch. I have nothing to lose anymore. But the thing I needed most, that was my worst point. The thing I needed most was just somebody to help me understand the next step. Somebody to show me the way of like, hey, if you do this, you will slowly build up these skills that are valuable. If you do this, step by step, you will make it and you're going to be okay. And so I never had that. And so deep down, I was like, I'm in a place now. So I made my first 100K online, right? They say your first 100K is the hardest. I want to show people everything I did to get there because I don't know who. I don't care if it's a guy in India. I don't care if it's 10 of my best friends back in Dallas. Somebody needs to hear that. And somebody needs a mentor in their life that they don't pay $15,000 for like me, right?
Who was it that showed you?
It was...
You needed someone to teach you that next step. Who was it?
His name's Tanner Chittister.
Okay.
And I'm going to give him a shout out on this, but Tanner runs a company called Elite CEOs. $70 million company.
It's a big company.
He's an online fitness coach. And he teaches people how to do that.
He makes $70 million as an online fitness coach?
So he started making his first, I believe, millions as that, but then his main business is he cracked the code of how to be a wildly successful online fitness coach. And so he sells his consulting for that. So if you're a personal trainer, gym owner who wants, if you're a personal trainer or a CEO of a company who wants to learn how to explode their company and build a profitable coaching business, he's one of the best in the industry.
Wow.
He's one of the best in the industry. He's a marketing titan. And so a lot of respect to him.
You learned from him.
I learned from him. And the way I got access to him was through my partner, Taniela, because Taniela is actually the guy who helped, who was in the process with him.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I had access to his $16,000 course.
For free?
For free.
Bro!
And so he was the guy I needed, but before that, I still had 4 other mentors who I spent between 6 to 10K on.
Yeah.
Who I learned, I'm quick to shit on them and be like, I didn't make money with your program. That's wrong. It's like your 6th grade math teacher. She had to teach you the basic steps so that I could find somebody like Tanner and start killing with. So that's why I'm so grateful I had those mentors at first because they made my mind understand what Tanner was teaching me.
You need the baseline first.
You need the baseline. You can't just go into calculus.
Yeah, absolutely.
You need your 3rd grade math teacher, right? And so I'm always grateful for them. But my goal now is to be as many of those grades as possible. And then if you can make your first 10, 20, 30K online, then you can go to somebody who's like a Hormozy or like a Chittister or a Tanner, and you can now understand what they're saying. Yeah. You can now appreciate and be perceptive enough to take that knowledge and apply it to yourself. But you need you need a 0 to 1. And me going 0 to 1 took me 3 years, a complete mental unwinding, eating shit mentally, physically, emotionally to get there. And I just needed somebody to show me how to do that as fast as possible. And I didn't have that.
And Tanner was your guy.
Tanner took me from 1 to 10. But from 0 to 1, I had to pretty much figure it out myself. And so I want to make that 0 to 1 as accessible to as many people as possible. Because I didn't get that through YouTube. I got that through buying $6,000 courses from mentors in the space. And I learned a lot from them. And I would make $1,000 here and there.
Yeah.
But Tanner was the guy for sure. For 1 to 10, I would give him, I have a lot of testimonials with him. I'm in all of his programs. But Tanner's a G. But anyways, my goal is to go 0 to 1 and show that to everybody. Like, these are the skills, these are the models of business that you need to know if you want to kill it in the space. And here's how you actually do it. Here's how I built my software company from 0 to 15K in a month. Here's how I built my coaching company to 100K cash collected in 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Here's how I built my social media marketing agency to 0 to 25K a month over the course of a year, right? All of that. And so I was making 25K. I'll get back to that in a bit, but I wasn't profiting that. But there's ways to now that if I can go back into that model, I'd be profiting 80%.
From what you know now.
From what I know now.
Yeah.
So I want to give all of that out for completely free, because that's how you can provide value as a new person in the marketplace. And that's the Rainmaker. That's what I want Rainmaker Shahriq to be.
When are you going to launch?
Off this podcast. So I've already changed my, and I want to give a shout out. I want to give another shout out. There's this girl. She's my life coach. I don't want to say my life coach, right? Her name is Alexis Cavo.
Okay.
Queen Cavo, shout out.
Queen Cavo.
She's the one who helped me make a decision. She's the one who made me realize me and my indecision is literally killing me, my brand. I was life coach Shahriq for an entire year without posting. I went from 0 to 90,000 followers in about 4 months.
You did.
And then that was
How'd you do that, by the way?
You taught me that way. Sacred Thomas. Shout out to Sacred Thomas.
I've talked about somebody that I've helped on previous podcasts, and it was you.
You helped me go, Sacred, you helped me go from 0 to 90,000 followers in about 4 months. So you were my mentor in that sense. So the same way that you helped me is how I want to help other people.
But you've turned that into money.
Money.
You've turned that into money.
I've turned it into cash. But I was able to climb out of that $40,000 debt trap in 2 months. $40,000 of debt paid off between April and May of this year. And then from May, June, July until now, it's almost August 1st, I've made 100K profit. That I'm paying my company. So I'm not pocketing 100K, but
yeah,
it's a highly profitable business model. I have an apartment. I got my sick car.
Yeah.
I just spent like 6K at IKEA for no reason. And it's a different.
Yeah, you were just living with your parents.
I was literally living with my parents who.
No, you went from Sky House to parents back to Sky House.
Back to the sky, baby. Back to the sky.
I love it, man.
So it's been a journey, man, for sure. But that's the Rainmaker model as a whole. Is I want to be that 0 to 1 for people because I don't know who needs to hear it, but I needed to.
Wow.
And I know there's a lot of guys like your content too. People need to hear the message that you're portraying, but only you could reach them.
Bro, I wouldn't say this to most 25-year-olds, but I'm excited to learn from you.
Thanks, man. I'm just trying to pay back my debt that I owe you to you because I was really excited to learn from you, and you gave me that for completely free while you were building it yourself, and I was able to actually implement it. And so I owe you for that. I don't owe you.
You don't owe me, but
I am so eternally grateful for that I will give back to you as much as I can. I
appreciate that. No, you definitely listen, man. In that space that you're doing, the SEO, the marketing. First of all, I don't know shit about SEO. Marketing, I'm okay. But so there's a lot that I can learn from you. And I'm excited for your program to come out.
Yeah.
Is there a date?
I am Godspeeding this thing. So I'm just going to make the community open. So it's a free community.
Okay.
So you'll get access to everything for completely free. I'm going to launch it tomorrow, honestly. It's not going to be decked out. It's not going to be like, I have a vision of like 50 case studies that I've done. Here is this coach online who's doing $2 million a month. Here's how Iman Ghazi made his money. Here's how Hormozi made his money. Here's how this new coach who started 3 months ago made his first $1 million on ClickFunnels. Stuff like that.
This information isn't new.
No.
But you're a new speaker. You're what you said earlier. There's certain people who can deliver the same message and they're going to listen to.
Exactly.
So I'm glad that you're doing this and you're adding to that.
Yeah. And what I think is absolutely bullshit and what really hindered me was that I needed to pay to know this information. So I'm making it completely free. And there's a guy, shout out to Joel Kaplan, because he's doing the same thing. He's a beast. But there's guys that I relate to that he can't, who will appreciate my message. And that's why I'm actually structuring a lot of my content like him. Because what he did was he ran a $300,000 a month agency. And he gave away that course for completely free. And he has a massive community behind him.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I'm going to do kind of a little bit different space. But his mission of giving things away for free is beautiful. And I think he got that from Alex Hormozi. But those two guys, Alex Hormozi and Joel Kaplan are my absolute heroes.
Big Alex Hormozi fan. Well, whenever I post this, I'm definitely gonna put your link there so people can join your
I appreciate
community,
that.
man.
Yeah, I'll send this over to you. Big Hormozi fan.
Yeah.
He's somebody I want to give a shout out to. He's somebody Alex Hormozi is somebody I really want to meet. Me and him, he is my hero. So me and him have he's older than me, obviously, but
he's not that much older though. He's in his 20s, right?
I think he's 33.
Oh, for some reason I thought he was like 29. Okay, you're probably right. I mean, you said you're a big fan.
Huge fan. I'm the biggest. So Hormozi, right?
Yeah.
Him and he has lived a lot of the struggles that I went through myself and I'm currently breaking out of. So it was a point where he lost everything and he was eating Chick-fil-A and Panda Express and Chipotle every single day. That's been my diet for the past 2 years. And I had no idea who he was, but he told me that and I was like, that's hilarious.
I relate to that part too.
Right? He was
president. Not needing to eat it every day, but just wanting to.
Yeah.
But anyways.
It's easy though. It's easy. It's fast. Eat the food, get back to work.
Chipotle.
Yeah, Chipotle.
Yeah.
But Hormozi, he was president of his fraternity. He learned a lot through that.
Oh, I didn't know.
He had a fallout with his parents the same way I did, where he just felt like nobody believed in him. And that's how I felt my entire life. And then he was able to get into mentorships and he realized the power of knowledge and learning and he turned it into his $100 million company. So he is directly my hero because the fallout he had with his own father, the way that he even jokes about eating just Chipotle 10 times a week, every little detail down to like being a fraternity president and what he learned there, I've experienced. And so I'm like, this guy is somebody I have binged all of his content for. So shout out to him. But one of my goals with the company that we're building is to get acquired by him in acquisition.com. That's one of our major goals.
That would be sick.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And
he actually has a great quote, and I'm gonna let you go keep going. But he has a great quote that really hit me. He said, "Wealth isn't passed down from assets; it's passed down through education." You said he's a big learner. He's big on learning things. It's so true. At the end of the day, I do have some friends that have had trust funds gone. That education is not going to be gone. You know what I'm saying? They teach you how to use that money wisely. It's not going to be gone. But if you just are born into wealth, it could be gone tomorrow. You could spend money very quickly. So I really love that quote. I love Alex Hormozi.
Yeah. But I mean, just shout out to him. But
yeah, shout out to him for sure.
But yeah, man.
So, I mean, we've had a great conversation, Shahriq. I really appreciate you being on here. I have 2 more questions for you.
Let's do it, man.
The first one is, where can everybody find you online?
Yeah, so Instagram, rainmaker.Shahriq. That's the new community that I'm launching, and that's where you can get all of the lessons I've learned. I call it your first 100K. It's the hardest, right? Rainmaker Shahriq on Instagram, and then same thing on TikTok. Rainmaker Shahriq. It's going to be a new flow. I used to talk a lot about mental health and education. I am switching it to pure online business and marketing skills and entrepreneurial mindset growth. That's something I embody a lot more now. And so that's where you can find me.
Awesome.
Instagram preferably though. That's going to be the main way to reach me.
Awesome. I'm going to link all of it on this video.
Awesome. Thank you.
The last question for you. No problem. The last question is, Shahriq, how do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered in a way that was really helpful to people. I want to be remembered as somebody who put it all out there and set a new standard of education and growth for people. So I want to further what we know as a collective human species, to sound like a fucking robot again. But I really want people like me to not struggle. And I really want to be the person who has just a little bit of help and a little bit of influence in their life. Because maybe there's just one belief, or maybe there's one tactic or one skill or one thing that they don't know that would completely change their life. And if I can do that for just one person every day, I'm happy.
I love that.
Yeah, that's the truth. So
it's been good, Shahriq.
Sacred, man. It's been a pleasure, man. I really appreciate you, bro. This is awesome.
This is going to be the first of many. Go ahead and follow Shahriq. We're out.
Gym Tin Laundry, baby.
The Sacred Podcast.